Hey everybody, welcome to my very first exclusive video for UltimateGuitar.com. I've been a huge fan of Ultimate Guitar for ages, and they've been a very big supporter of Spectre sound over the years. So I thought it would be cool to give back to the awesome community that they have with a few guitar recording tutorials. Now, the great thing about modern recording technology is that anyone can make a record these days. The problem is since that it's become so easy to get great metal tones, everybody's kind of doing the same thing, going with what works and not pushing the envelope. And a lot of stuff is starting to sound the same, which baffles me because there are so many options out there when it comes to tone. Of course, I'm talking about the standard 5150 or similar 6L6 based tube amp into a 4x12 loaded with vintage 30s, mic'd up with an SM57. It's a tried and true recipe for good tone, and it just plain works. But I think it's a mold that needs to be broken because it's been the go-to metal tone for about 13 or 14 years. It's time to move on and push forward once again. Fortunately, it's not very difficult to change things up. Let's start with our bass tone, a Rev Generator 100P into a Mesa rectifier cab mic'd up with a single SM57. Bear in mind, this isn't about showing off guitar prowess. I have none. This is about developing a unique sound. So here's the typical modern metal tone. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just getting to be a bit stale. So my first suggestion would be to use a cabinet other than one from Mesa. They've got theirs voiced a very specific way. If we were to switch over to another vintage 30 loaded cab, you'll notice a pretty serious tone shift. Check out how the same 57 sounds in front of a coffee cab's lungo. And while the 57 is the de facto standard guitar recording mic, it's not the be-all, end-all. Lewitt's MTP440DM is a great alternative. And don't limit yourself to just one mic. One of my favorite techniques is to use a small utility mixer to blend two microphones on two completely different speakers. An SM57 as a first mic and a tom microphone as the second. Anything from a Sennheiser MD421 to an Audix to a Lewitt. In this case, it's a 57 on a vintage 30 and a Lewitt 340 on a Celestion K100, blended together on an inexpensive Behringer mixer. Now, here's some truth. You really don't need super expensive preamps for good metal tone. We're not recording Adele. We don't need those incredible signal to noise ratios. The preamps on the Behringer sound great for this application. We're just riffing off of what was done on the great Southern Trendkill record. In that case, it was a small 4-channel Mackie. And I've got to give a huge shout out to Mr. Ulrich Wild for teaching me this trick. For more information, you can check out my greatest guitar recording trick I ever learned video for a full breakdown of that technique. All right, so now we've got a blend. Where else can we go? Well, we can swap out cabs once again, and this time go with a Rev 4x12 loaded up with WGS Veteran 30s. I've been very impressed with these, and they've got their own sound, and it's great for metal tones. Now, to push this even further, I took a serious listen to some of my favorite heavy tones ever recorded. And the two records that come to mind are Corrosion and Conformity's Blind and Cathedral's Ethereal Mirror. Specifically the songs Vote with a Bullet and Midnight Mountain. Now, both of those tracks have this incredible heavy tone playing, and to my ears, it sounds like a blend of a very mid-range focused sound and a very scooped sound. Lots of highs, lows, and almost no mids. So that means quad tracking. We'll add an extra set of rhythm tracks into the mix. Now, on its own, it's going to sound pretty weak. This clip is the coffee cab with the two mics blended technique with the tom mic louder than the 57, and it is really scooped. Watch what happens with it on its own, and then we bring in the rev cab for the mids. Okay, now that's becoming interesting. Now, just for the hell of it and to change things up even more, I ran the second set of tracks through my Sun Beta lead, which has definitely got its own thing going on. I really do have to do a full demo on this amp at some point. It's a lot of fun and it was incredibly popular with the grunge guys back in the 90s. It's just a cool amp. If you're looking to break out of the mold of the typical metal sound and find your own thing, it's really not that difficult. There are many options available. And once you get going, it can kind of be hard to stop. I can lose myself here in the studio for hours trying out new ideas. The hardest part is finally deciding on a tone to go with. In this experiment, I think my favorite was the single 57 on the rev cab with the WGS Veteran 30 with plenty of mids, and then the blended and scooped mics on the Coffee Custom cab. I'm really happy with how that turned out. Now, if you guys want to get your hands on the tracks and play around with the different sounds to see what you can come up with, I'm going to make the stems available for download. Just bear in mind that you can run into phase cancellation if you try to blend tracks from the same take. Be careful there. Thanks again to ultimateguitar.com for all the support, and they'd like me to mention to you guys that they're giving away 4 memberships to Ultimate Guitar Pro. They've got official tabs and a very cool app with all kinds of extra features, and if you follow the link in the description below, you just might win yourself a free membership. If you like this video, or if you want to see how to do this with amp sims and hybrid systems, I want to hear from you. Please leave a comment. All right, I'm out of here.